Hello and welcome. Welcome to our module on setting up the USM Anywhere sensor to monitor your Azure environment. We will begin by logging into our USM Anywhere console and navigating to the sensors page. Here we will select our sensor to open it up and go into the Credentials tab. There are a couple of ways to create the credentials. One is to already have the credentials. The other one is selecting no, I don't have the Azure credentials and I need to create them. Or the last one where you're not sure and you need to be shown how to create those Azure credentials. Here, we're going to select the second entry here. And we're brought to this page where we can create the Windows credentials using PowerShell. Note that this is only going to work in Windows operating systems. We're going to use the second entry there to create them manually. This brings us to this page where we're going to create an application and obtain Azure credentials. So this is needed because in order for USM Anywhere to monitor your Microsoft Azure subscription, you must create an application that grants permissions to USM Anywhere to fetch data using the Azure SDK and the Azure REST API. So we need to collect these 4 different credentials. And please remember that you need to have global administrator privileges to create the application and obtain the credentials. The first thing we're going to do is to obtain the Azure subscription ID. So let's navigate to our Azure portal. And we'll go down to subscriptions. And click on our subscription name. And here on the right, we'll see the subscription ID. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it into this little text file that I have created here. Move that out of the way. And go back to the instructions. The next thing we need to do is to create the application in Azure. So let's go back to our portal and go down to Home, Microsoft Entra ID, which is the Azure Active Directory. On the left, go down to App Registrations and create a new registration. We'll give it a name. We'll select the second choice to support the accounts in the multi-tenant environment, and we'll click Register at the bottom. Very good. The application has been created, and we can grab a few pieces of information from here. We can get the tenant ID. So we'll copy that tenant ID and put it in our little text file. We also need the application ID. So we'll copy that and paste it into our little text file. Finally, we need the application key. For that, we have to go into API permissions and add a permission, Microsoft Graph. In this case, it will be application permissions. And the permission that we need is the user read all. And click Add Permission. Now, we need to grant admin consent for this application. So we'll click on this button here, grant admin consent, and click Yes. The grant has been successful. And so the last thing here is to go to Secrets and create a new client secret. give it a description, and select the default expiration. At the bottom, we'll click Add, and we'll copy the value of this client secret, and that is going to be the last thing we need here. So we'll paste that into our little file. Very good. The last step is going to be to grant the API permissions, which we did. And now we are ready to go. We have collected all the 4 pieces of information that we need. And this last step is not a mandatory step. So let's go back to our USM Anywhere and go back into the credentials area. And this time we're going to select yes, I have my Azure credentials, and click on this link to enter the credentials manually. I'm going to copy and paste from my little text file these 4 pieces of information. And we'll click on create, or actually change the application key. So that is the application key that we also gathered. So let's paste that there and click on Save Credentials. There you go. We have valid credentials. Thank you very much for watching.